Guys, AI is completely transforming healthcare. It's actually likely that the next drug you take will have been designed by artificial intelligence, which is just insane. But look, you don't just need to take my word for it. Eli Lilly, who's one of the largest obesity drug creators in the world, just inked a $1.3 billion deal with Superliminal Medicines to discover AI medicine for obesity. It's absolutely astounding what's happening now. But before you say, Mark, this is just hype, it's just a bubble, it's not really legitimate, MIT actually just released a study detailing how they use generative AI to design 36 million molecular compounds. And I think you'll be surprised with the results, with what they were able to do with artificial intelligence. I mean, just think about how long it would have taken to create all those different compound designs before artificial intelligence. Today, we just got to briefly talk about this because I just think it's really fascinating in seeing how AI is transforming the world of science and discovery, but also the world that we live in. Can you imagine a world where AI is able to develop prescription drugs for custom problems almost immediately, and what that could do to the cost of prescription drugs and the time of development? And you might say, Mark, all these big drug manufacturers are going to charge out the wazoo regardless, but it'll just bring the time and the competition down, or the time that it takes to design these drugs down so quickly. Anyway, let's talk about this MIT study because I think it's really interesting. They used AI to design $36 million molecular compounds, and as a result, they were able to identify 2 novel antibiotics. Now, guys, this is really important because bacteria are evolving very rapidly, and they're building resilience to traditional antibiotics. Bacteria like MRSA and gonorrhea specifically are kind of classified as these superbugs, and they've been historically untreatable. We haven't been able to keep up with their evolution, but AI is going to help. And this is not just a small problem. I mean, these diseases are leading to over 1 million deaths annually, and those are only expected to increase. I saw a study or a prediction that it'll be about 10 million deaths per year by 2050. So over the next 20 years, you're looking at millions and millions and millions of deaths due to these bacteria. But again, AI can come in and solve a lot of those problems. So how did MIT use artificial intelligence to develop these, what I would say, miracle drugs? That's how I would explain them. But so how is AI used? They use generative models to explore untapped chemical structures, okay? And they were able to predict the efficacy of the chemical structures. They used AI to design, again, $36 million molecular compounds, and they found these 2 novel antibiotics that had never been discovered before. These compounds were then lab tested and validated in mice, killing the bacteria. So this is not speculation. This is actually something that occurred. This is not just computer predictions. This is actually something that was leveraging AI, was able to design, test, improve that these antibiotics work, which to me is kind of proof that this is not just a hype train. You know, this is not just, 1 billion here, 10 billion there. This is actual proof in the pudding that we designed it using AI and it solved the problem. That is unbelievable. And again, why this is so important is that traditionally drug development is incredibly long and incredibly costly, billions of dollars to develop new drugs. And this AI could bring on a new renaissance of discovery and supercharge every step of the discovery process, everything from target identification and validation. They'll be able to analyze massive biomedical data sets almost instantly. And I mean, this is something that I found just using AI to review data sets and come up with charts and summaries. Incredibly helpful in the work that I do in the marketing world, but certainly in the biomedical world. I mean, infinite amounts of data. And by the way, as the processing power becomes more and more effective and powerful, it's only going to get better. I recorded a video about data centers recently, specifically about Meta in the tens of billions of dollars that they're spending on data center development. You should check out that video up here. It's incredibly fascinating how much money and effort and resources they're putting into it. But as those data centers become more and more prevalent, it's going to the data is going to get better and better. The efficacy of AI is going to be dramatically improved. Molecule design and screening is the next step, where designing these new small molecules is done by AI. We saw a specific example of that in this MIT study. Preclinical optimization. How do we predict how the molecule will perform prior to starting very, very costly tests? That's important. I mean, once you start testing and building out your labs and finding your patients, all that stuff, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. We're going to talk about how much money in just a moment, but clinical trial design and patient recruitment, also a big expense, also a place where AI can play a role. Analyzing electronic health records, screening, finding the right applicants, big deal. Post-approval and life cycle management, using AI to monitor the results. Again, analyzing these vast data sets. And hallucinations are still a problem, right? We're still seeing hallucinations in different parts of the value chain when using AI. A, that's going to get better, and B, we have a proven result here from MIT. They used AI to create 36 million different potential solutions, and just to drill it down to 2. I just think that that's endlessly fascinating. Guys, this could reduce the drug discovery timelines down to sub 5 years. And historically, the time it takes to develop a new drug could be 10 to 15 years. It could cost billions of dollars. It's common for it to take over $2 billion. Well, many drugs take over $2 billion to develop. So can you just imagine, bring it down from 10 to 15 years to 2 to 3 years? It could bring on a renaissance. It could also be used the other way too in developing terrible, terrible weapons of war. But, I like to see the good in things. And I just really thought it was important that we highlighted this study from MIT and how it's going to supercharge the creation of these new drugs. Now, there's going to be downsides too, guys. If you're a scientist, if you're a lab assistant, if you're not learning how to use these tools, if you're not learning how to use AI to supercharge your work, you're just not going to be a functional human being in this new world. I said this in yesterday's video. It's going to be like using a typewriter when everybody else is using a powerful computer with the internet. You're not going to be competitive. So, wanted to quickly highlight this story. I hope you enjoyed the video. And listen, if you want to have more information on what's going on in the job market, you definitely want to check out yesterday's video, because the job report came back pretty poor for last month. There were a lot of layoffs. And I don't want that to be you. I want you to succeed. I want you to have the tools that you need. So check out yesterday's video. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. I'll see you next time. All right, peace.